Alright. What's going on YouTube? It's fineokay, and today I'm bringing you guys a little God guide on Athena solo, and this is specifically for solo lane, not in support, and you will play it differently because they're different roles. So we're going to go over to play her in solo. Some things we're going to talk about are the early laning phase, your level order, your build, how to play in team fights, maximum like tips and tricks, little efficiencies you can do. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're level 1. The ability I get first at level 1, pretty much every single time, is my 3. Does the most damage. It's 140 plus your scaling. You don't have any scaling, I guess, level 1 because you only have Warrior's Blessing. It's something you can do, and something you should do at the start of the game is use your 3 and get a reach stack because you can use it to clear the wave efficiently. So what I mean by that is I have my reach stack procced. What I can do is I can my 3 will be off cooldown right by the time the waves meet. If there's a solo laner here, I can throw my reach at him and the wave, hit him in the wave, and then it'll group up the wave, and then I can 3 it and then use another reach. So I get 2 reaches off of that. So that's like a little tip you can use at the start of the game. It'll help you clear a lot. So just make sure you use it in a little fountain, and then walk out of base. Our starting build is going to be Warrior's Blessing, Tier 1 boots, a Health Chalice, and a TP. So I love going TP. First Relic on Athena, and pretty much every solo, but I especially like it on Athena because you can ult over to fights and still be kind of like pushing your waves and stuff, right? So I can push my wave, then ult over to a fight, and if they are like threatening the tower or anything like that, proxying, you know, whatever, I need to push my wave, I can TP back. So that's why I love TP on her so much. It makes her very unique because pretty much every other solo laner in the game can't rotate besides maybe like Rat or, you know, Thor if you're playing that, because you don't have the global for it. So that's what makes Athena unique, and that's part of the reason she is pretty good. So let me grab some levels real quick, just show you how to play the laning phase. Let's just say we're at level 4. You don't always have to put a point in your top, but it gives you another reach stack, which is nice. You know, every time you use an ability, you get that reach stack, and that's really good for clearing the wave because it goes through all the minions and also helps you stack up the wave. So like I said before, at the start of this game, or not the start of this game, but at the start of this video, in order to clear the wave, you want to stack up the wave with your reach, and that's what you're going to be doing the entire time. So one thing you can do is, you know, if they're blocking your dash, that's fine. Just dash through the minions that you can and hit them with it, and, you know, aggro the minions. And then basically what you do from there is just go towards the archers. Always be looking to go towards the archers on Athena because then you can aggro the melees with your reach. So I'll throw my reach at the wave and the person. It'll group up the wave. The minions will come to me, and then I can throw my reach at them again and through the entire wave, and it'll aggro the minions again, so they'll stay in the additional damage that you get from your shield wall. Because it's 2 hits, right? But this is really good clear. That means at level 3, you're going to be full clearing pretty much. If you get your reach through the entire wave, so my 3 is rank 2, right? So let me just show you what the damage you get from just throwing your reach through the wave with your, I'm just going to do that and then do this. So look at that. These minions are already about 60-70% health, right? So that's going to help your clear a lot. So at level 3, if I use my dash through the entire wave and my 3, you should be full clearing that pretty easily. Let me go rank down real quick. So let me show you what that looks like. You don't always have to grab your taunt level 3. Usually you want to put 2 points into your shield wall because it's going to be a lot more damage, right? It increases the damage by, is it 35 and then 70 on the back end, so it goes up a whole lot. This is the ability you're going to be maxing first because it's your damage, it's your clear, it's your everything. So I'm going to go through the wave. This isn't the best example because the minions won't group up, but if I had hit the solo laner there, the minions would have grouped up and I would have full cleared the wave at level 3. Not a lot of solo laners can do that, especially Guardians. So that's part of the reasons Athena is so good in solo. Let's look at her abilities real quick. So her 1 is her dash. It goes down and cooldown every time you level it and increases the damage. And the slow, it's a slow on top of it. So that's another form of CC that she has, but her main form of CC is her 2, or Confound, which is her taunt. It's a 2-second taunt. It brings you toward, like whoever taunt. Okay, let me go rank up real quick so I can grab my taunt actually. So every time you hit somebody with it, it's a form of CC, it brings them towards you. So for 2 seconds they do that. That's why Athena has always been so good in pretty much, you know, in support and in solo. It's just because her CC is amazing, her setup's great. And that's why you pick her, also for the ulting of the team fights. But, you know, the setup late game, you're going to be one of the best Guardians in the late game fights coming out of the solo lane. So that's why you kind of pick her. The taunt's amazing, good setup. And then, you know, she also does a lot of damage, like I said before. Look at the insane amount of damage you get from this. So it could possibly do 560 base damage if they get hit by both. So the way you do this, and this is how you're going to trade in lane. Usually the way you want to play it is you're just going to be clearing the wave early on, and you're going to be aggroing the minions so that you can group them up. But sometimes they'll walk towards your shield wall, and what you can do is taunt them back into it, right? You can taunt them back into your shield wall, right? And just make sure you're grouping up the wave, like I said. Let me grab my taunt again. But the way to get off your combo, this is really basic for those brand new Athena players in solo. The easy way to get off your combo is to 3, throw your reach, and then taunt them back into your 3. Like usually this Odin would be running away, right, if he was an enemy. And you just throw out your 3 first, and then you get him with the taunt afterward to secure the second form of damage. And that's pretty important. You're going to be doing that combo most of the game as a solo laner, because when you're playing at support, you usually just want to taunt immediately. But you actually do a lot of damage with the base damage that you have from when you're being ahead in solo. Like you're going to be ahead of most people, so your base damage is going to be really high. Not only that, but you're going to be building full CDR and stuff. So making sure you get these extra sets of damages off, like the 2 hits, is going to be a lot of damage. It's going to increase your DPS a lot. So yeah, so what that looks like in lane is usually, like I said, you're just going to be focused on clearing the wave. You're going to walk up, you're going to dash through the wave, you're going to group up the minions. But if the enemy solo walks at you, you can taunt them into that second form of damage. And another thing is, if they're like a character that's like staying in their wave, like around here, because they're like Hercules, you can kind of fuck with them and like taunt them away from doing their damage and making sure that they get into your shield wall. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure you're grouping up the wave. And like I said, your main form of poke and trade potential is really between waves. You're not going to be doing it too much during the lane. But just make sure you're hitting the enemy solo with your reaches non-stop, because that's some good form of poke, and it helps your clear, so just throw it through the wave. Let's look at the build real quick. So cooldown boots on pretty much every solo, that's what I go. If you're against a physical, go breastplate. If you're against a magical, I like Genji's. I've been liking Genji a lot more lately. I don't think you need the Void Stone for the damage. Void Stone's still a really good item, and you could still look to go it a little bit later on. I just like the CDR you get from this. It's a crazy amount, and the MP5. So obviously if I'm against magical, I'd go Genji's into breastplate, but usually I'm against the physical, I go breastplate. And then I'll go Genji's, that way I'm at full CDR. The extra CDR you get from this passive is really nice. This is kind of where you can take it wherever you want. Hide the Urchin's a really good item. You're a team fighting god. Athena, you're going to be ulting over a lot. You're going to be a part of a lot of fights, so you're going to stack this pretty efficiently. I still like Wingblade on Athena. She has no slow immunity. Only a CC immunity is in her ult. Not really good. I just like Wingblade a lot right now, because the problem is Titan's Bane and Obsidian Shard get really effective the more protections you have. So if you go more of like a utility item that can help you survive certain situations based on just like a slow or something, whatever, then that's an option. And then last item is also however you feel. If you need a Midgardian mount, Midgardian's really good right now. This would be your full build. You are overcapping CDR when you have your 500 pot though, so you can sell this for either pen boots or for tank boots, or you could even sell it for another movement speed item like Witchblade, or if your team has any relevant healing. I mean, this good item is always good, and you're going to have the movement speed from both these items, so that's an option, and you're still at that full CDR. Another build path you can go, which is just as good. I just prefer Genji's right now. I just think you already have enough damage, and especially if your team is contributing enough, they're like following up with your taunts and stuff, then the full CDR I prefer, I think. But if it is a ranked game, which I mean, this is probably when you're going to be playing it. Wait, what the heck? Can I not buy Warrior's Blessing? It won't let me buy it for some reason. Alright, let's just say I have Warrior's Blessing. Another build you can go is Breastplate. Void Stone to see if you can carry the game. Stone of Binding. I really like this build on like a lot of Guardians, because it's just, you know, you're going to be setting up for your team, you're going to be providing that extra pen for them, and it just gives you so much damage. It makes you one-shot their carries. And then you also take the build however you would like. You go Urchin Mantle. You could go Midgardian instead here. Midgardian Mantle, this is a good build. Stone of Gaia I think is still a really good item. The extra healing you get from that is really good. You could go that into Mantle. That's an option. And then late game you could sell. You don't want your Stone of Binding late game. You kind of want to sell it for something else, just make you more tanky or give you some utility. So you could sell that for whatever. But again, with this build, you're going to be overcapped in CDR once you get 500 pots. So you can sell this for pen boots, and then this would be like similar to your full build. So that's another option. This is more for the carry potential coming out of solo, so you actually do damage and can carry your team. So that would be the build. I'm just going to go this build real quick. Just gonna go Genji so I have full CDR so I can show you guys some things. I'll level up real quick to level 20. So the level order is like this. You put a point in level 5 if you think you're gonna ult over to a fight. If it's really slow, you can forego putting a point in your ult and just put another point in your 3. That way you have a rank 3/3 and it does a lot of damage. But you put points into your 3, and then also you can put a second point in your taunt. It just really confirms that second hit of damage because it goes up 0.25 seconds. You could put a point in it to your taunt earlier, but I prefer to just keep the damage going up on the 3. And then from there, this is how I level my Athena, is I max out my taunt right after my 3. And then I put points in my ult when I can, because it lowers the cooldown and also increases the damage. And a lot of times you're going to be getting that damage off, so I like to put points in it then. And then just from there, just put points whenever you can into your dash and your ult, with the priority on the ult. So it'd be level 20. So that's basically how you level her. Like I said, it's just points into your shield wall first, a second point in your taunt at level, what is it, 8 or something, level 7. And then max out your shield wall, then max out your confound, then go into your ult when you can, and then your dash. So that's how you level Athena. So like I said, the main form of damage that you're going to have is your shield wall into a taunt, so they get hit by both hits of damage. But it's going to get to a point in the game where your team is going to be doing a lot of damage. You're not going to be hitting as hard as you once were, because people are level 20 and such, such. They also have like more forms of escape and stuff like that at that point in the game, movement speed. They're not going to always be getting hit by your 3. So usually when it comes to late game and when it comes to Phoenix Sieges and everything like that, your main objective is either going to be, well, I guess we could talk about the second relic, because I guess I didn't talk about that. But your main objective is going to be to dash in and taunt people like immediately. You're going to be super tanky. You're going to be setting up for your team, so your main objective is just to help your team out and get them into a position where they can do the damage. So honestly, you're just going to walk in, dash taunt. Sometimes you can throw out your shield wall and stuff and throw it throughout the team fight, but that's not going to be your main objective, like I said. So just kind of to be dash taunting on cooldown. Since you have the full CDR, make use of it. That's why I like Athena and Solo a little bit more than support, because you can go the full CDR a lot earlier, so you can make use of the constant taunts. And sometimes, on a Phoenix Siege or even in a team fight, you can say, like, tell your team, I'm looking for actives here or something. Like, I'm typing it, but if I was, like, playing with my team, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to dash in here and try and get some actives. I dash in and taunt, and since I'm so tanky and I have, like, a lot of survivability, either they don't beads it, and my team follows up and we kill that person, or they realize like, hey, we're just kind of looking to be a little bit cautious here, and we get their actives, and then maybe they turn on me, but then my team can follow up. One thing you do have to be on the lookout for with Athena is when they turn on you, because you do use your dash a lot to initiate fights. So if I dash in here and then I taunt, maybe I get their beads, but they beads, and then maybe they try and turn on me. So just make sure that your team is in the option, or in the scenario where they can like follow up and stuff. But that's also why I like Athena and Solo, is because in support you're not getting that far ahead, right? You're not getting ahead at all, so you're not able to be as tanky as you can in Solo. So in Solo you can't really get punished for dash taunting, so that's really nice. Yeah, let me talk about the second relic option. So blink is always an option on Athena. That way you don't, like I was just talking about, you have to expend your dash to get into a fight. If you go blink, you don't have to worry about that. You can blink taunt, and then you can have your dash to get away, right? So that's always an option, but some other things, just like team fight actives, right? They're always going to be good on these Guardians. Sprint is an option, definitely. That actually helps you a lot, because you can use that to get out, and also can use it. You can also use it to initiate. If I sprint and then like walk up to somebody, I'm going to be super fast, and I can walk up and just taunt them. Curse Dunk is an option if they have any healing. When it's upgraded, it's a really nice thing. Phantom if they have the cage. Horrific I really like. I don't know if I like it too much on Athena. I've been picking it up a whole lot because the upgraded of it is really nice. The reduced 20% damage. That's going to help out for the teamfights a whole lot. But you are in the thick of things with Athena when you dash taunt, so Horrific isn't all that bad. And you also get their beads a whole lot, so if they don't have escapes and you walk up dash taunt and they beads, on the next time you taunt that you can Horrific afterward, and there's no way for them to ever get away. So that is an option. Because if they don't have an escape or a CC immunity and they just use their beads, there's no way for them to escape the Horrific unless they have a sprint up. But nonetheless, those are probably the options as Athena. And I guess you could go Aegis on Athena. I think that's an option even in Solo, because like I said, it's sometimes they try and turn on you and try and like one-shot you, and if you have an Aegis on top of all the defense items you have, they really will never be able to do that. But that's only if they have like a Scylla or a Kraken or something that they really need to focus you out on, because it's pretty easy to kill tanks with that kind of thing. So let me go full build real quick. That's kind of what I've been going lately. Let's finish off with Mantle, and you can sell this for, cooldown boots. This is kind of the build I've been going. It's really, really good when you have a fully stacked Urchin, but it's also just a good base build. But if you're playing ranked, let me switch that out for what you would do in ranked. This is what I like to do in ranked. It really ensures that you're going to help your team out, and you're going to really do the damage and kind of be that carry that you need to be. So I like Stone and Binding on a lot of these Guardians in solo just because it provides that pen for your team and it gives you a lot of extra damage. It's just a good bridge item, so that's why I go it here. It's only 1,700 gold, and it makes really good use because, you know, you're going to be setting up for your team. So every time I taunt, I'm giving all my team back here 10 pen. They're going to be doing extra damage to that character. But not only that, it just helps your damage as well. So that's why I like it so much. Around Gold Furies and around Fire Giants, your job is going to be to zone. So a lot of time your team will be on fire and you're Athena. Say they walk up to Fire Giant and try and seal it. You're going to have to save your taunt so you can CC them during it. But most of the time you should be able to just zone them out here. So like say your team is on Fire Giant, your job as an Athena is to mess with them. You know, say there's a person coming up, you know, you do my damage on, taunt them back in because it's a 2-second taunt. Just make sure that you kind of keep them out as much as possible. And of course, as Athena, always be throwing out your reaches. That increases your DPS so much. I see so many people waste their reaches by doing something like this. Let me look. So like they'll go like this, they'll taunt, and then they'll dash into this person. That's a potential 3 reaches that I could have gotten off. So I'll show you what that looks like. If I reach that person, then I do this, and I taunt them, throw them back in, and then I dash afterward and throw my reach. So I got 4 reaches off right there, and the reach does, here it is, 35 plus 1.5 per level. So what is that? 65 at rank 20, and then 20% of your magical power, which, I mean, you don't have a lot of, but it's going to increase your DPS. That's a total of like 250 or 300 extra damage. And like I've always talked about as a solo laner, those little things are going to increase your DPS a whole lot and make it's going to be the difference in a kill or not. I guess something I didn't talk about too much about with the ult and the TP is what you want to do with Athena is you want to push your lead as much as possible in lane to make it really hard for that solo laner to rotate to follow you after they because you want to have your waves pushed, right? And you want to get to that fight instantly. So when you can, try and proxy on her. She's really hard to kill. Something you can do is you can proxy, maybe force a rotation, and then ult over to Gold Fury and immediately fight there because their solo laner is never going to be there unless they have their upgraded TP, which they shouldn't most of the game. But there always is the option to keep your TP up, right? Just to have your TP up, walk back to lane, ult over to a fight, and then when you see that they're pushing in solo lane, you TP back over, and then you're just applying so much pressure on the map, and that's what makes Athena so unique in solo. It's a little different from playing her in support because in support you ult over to solo lane or you ult over to a jungle fight and you instantly help that out. It's a little bit reversed because you're a solo laner who's getting ahead and you're pushing your lead in lane, and your objective is to ult over to a Gold Fury fight and apply the pressure over there and help out over there. So yeah, that's how you do that. That's pretty much it, I think, on Athena. It's pretty simple. Make sure you're making good use of your reaches for your max DPS. Make sure you're taunting them back into your 3. You know, make sure you're using all your abilities for damage most of the game, but it'll get to a point where you're just going to be applying setup for your team with your taunts and such. Blink's still a really good act on her to set up. You know, make sure you keep your dash up so you're never in a bad spot. I kind of lost interest, something I didn't really talk about too much is, I kind of lost interest in Thorns. I think these other actives are just so much better, especially for like team fighting and just like lowering the other character's DPS. I think it's still definitely an option. And the thing with Thorns and Athena is when you taunt them, they auto, right? It makes them auto. So if you taunt an ADC and you pop your Thorns, and their beads are down, there's no option for them to not hit you with their autos. So that's why Thorns could still be good on Athena, because it's not like they can do anything about it. But a lot of times their beads are going to be down, or they're going to be up, and you're just going to be forcing it. Or the other thing is if their beads are down and you know that, your team can follow up, so you don't really need the Thorns damage anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Athena is really fun in solo. Definitely try her out. She's one of the more unique gods, I think, in solo lane right now because of her ult. She has a very specific job. When it comes to late game team fights, she's one of the best, I think, in solo overall. It's just about getting there and making sure you make good use of your ults. Make sure you don't leave waves in your lane, because as Athena, your strength is that you can push the waves and also be in the fights on the other side of the map. So make sure you make good use of that. And that's pretty much it. I'm doing a little Q&A. I'll wait for chat to update. If you guys have any questions on Athena that I can answer, that I can throw in at the end of the video, that'd be great. So ask me away, I guess you could say. And that rhymed. Wish I could do it all the time. Oh yeah. Like what? So yeah. This is the part where you guys ask me questions about Athena Solo in chat, guys. I guess we could talk a little bit about our matchups too, okay? Some bad matchups, I think, for Athena are probably... Well, I actually don't think there's any bad matchups for her. She's a Guardian that kind of wins lane, and there's not many that do that. But I think Athena, or not Athena, Ares is actually pretty good against her because he can ult you and bring you back to lane. So if he ever follows you around, he'll ult you and then bring you back to lane, and your ult becomes useless. Not only that, but he can CC you a lot. Problem is you can taunt his clear and stuff, so it's not that viable. It's just something I like. Kukulkan can be a little bit rough because he can kind of out-trade you in lane pretty hard, but if you get really good at Athena Solo, you should be able to play it perfectly fine. What are some good utility items to swap Stone of Binding for late game? Good question. So Witchblade is always good. It helps out your team, lowers their damage, and if you have Wingblade somewhere in your build, you can also, you know, just go one of these builds where you don't have any power late game. Because like I said, you're just a setup god late game, so you don't really need the damage, and you're gonna have just enough movement speed here and utility from your items. So Witchblade is an option. Some other things is you can go Gauntlet of Thebes later on in the game, because the thing about that, let's say I have boots, you don't want to go this early because you're going to be last hitting a lot of waves, but let me say I have a 500 pot as well, because this would be the final build, the full build, because I'm at full CDR right now, and if this is the point in the game where my team is clearing waves for me. I'm just around my team, we're killing things together, so I'm going to actually stack that Gauntlet of Thebes up pretty fast. So that's an option that you can go late game, because this is one of the best defense items in the game. 200 health plus 50 protections each, and then an aura that gives you 10 each, so 60 protections each. It's like basically a better Hide of the Urchin when it's stacked. It's not as hard to stack too. So what are some more situational items for Athena versus Guardian in lane? Well, if it's a Guardian that needs to be anti-heal, Pestilence is always an option, I think. There's a lot of defense options right now, I think. Stone of Gaia is still an option as well. I think Stone of Gaia is really good on Athena, especially if you go cooldown boots. I think you need cooldown boots pretty much every situation early on, so yeah, probably him. I'd be down. Relic Dagger. I don't really like Relic Dagger too much on anyone. You could go it if you're comfortable with that and you like the extra cooldown you get for your actives, then that's fine. Who do you ult as Athena in a fight? Ooh, that's a really good question, Ashes. So usually, if you have a character like a jungler who's diving their backline, that's a really good character to ult because you can confirm your damage. But sometimes if somebody's in need, like say there's a fight already breaking out, then you need that damage mitigation. You can ult because your ult gives your team your allies allied mitigation. Okay, I said that terribly, but I didn't really mention that. So use your ult on a god that's getting dove pretty hard, or use it on a god on your team that's diving really hard, and you can confirm your damage and really dive their backline really easily, especially mid game. Oh, that was your question, Birch? Okay. It's all good. So yeah, basically it's two options. You either help somebody because the fight's already started and they're kind of getting screwed over, or you dive their backline really hard mid-game with a character that dives their backline. Or, it may not matter, you may just want to be over at a Gold Fury fight and you just proxied your wave and you want to start a Gold Fury fight, so you just ult whoever's there. And that's pretty much that. No, it's all good, Ham. Sounds good. Any more questions? I think we're done. I think I got over most everything, but what about ulting during the laning phase? I struggle with knowing when the fight will actually happen versus everyone. Either team just runs away and I wasted ult and miss farm. Well, yeah, it's something you have to learn when you know that there's like going to be a good fight, or at least you can get something out of it. Like, let's say you ult over and the fight kind of dies down and there's nothing you can get out of it, like you can't get a buff, then it's probably not worth it. But also, I think the main rule for ulting over to team fights as Athena, especially during the laning phase, is that your wave is pushed as far as it possibly can. If your wave isn't pushed and you're ulting over to a fight, you're going to lose out on a lot of farm, a lot of pressure, and it's going to be really hard for you to get your tempo back on the map to you know, push out your waves again and be chilling. So I think the number one rule is just make sure your waves are pushed. And then the feeling out for like when something is worth it is about like if there's a buff up, if there's actually something to fight over, can you actually, you know, threaten gold and stuff? Does your ADC do enough damage? Yeah, so that's that. Any more questions? I think that's it, maybe. You guys asked really good questions. Things that I probably know, I just don't think of, like, you know, while I'm making the video. So I think that's it. I hope you guys learned something from this Athena Solo Guide. If you have any questions, I will answer them, because like I just said, there may be some things that I'm forgetting that for Guardians that you try to rush CDR on, how do you compensate when you need a Pestilence? Oh, that's a good question. Well, I think what you can do is, like, say I go Pestilence here. Obviously, I have cooldown boots, and then I have blue buff, so I'm at 20% CDR. I just go Breastplate here. So now I'm at full CDR when I have my blue buff. So that's kind of all you have to do. If you need that Pestilence, then you just kind of do that. It's no big deal. And you'll be chilling at full CDR at that point. And you may not be able to sell for pen boots late game or tank boots, because you may not have 20% or the 30% CDR. But if you go Mantle somewhere else in the build, then you'll be fine. So. Alright, so anyway, let me do my outro again, just to answer that question. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Let me know if you learned anything, if you have any more questions, because like I said before, you know, there's some things that I forget, but I probably do know. I just forget to mention. We went over the laning phase, the build, how to team fight, good relics, some tips and tricks on her, the way to make maximum use of her DPS and her reaches and her passive and stuff. We know how to group up the wave to clear and everything like that, and we know why and when we need to ult over to team fight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.